What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on Get Up, they're going to be talking about what does the James Harden to the Nets mean for Kyrie Irving. So let's see what they have to say about that.
The Rockets sending James Harden to the Nets in a 4-team deal, completing the unhappy Stars' exit from Houston and setting up a potential super team in Brooklyn. All of this yesterday, according to our Woj and Ramona Shelburne. Here's the breakdown of the whole trade. Harden lands with the Nets, obviously. The Rockets get a package that includes Victor Oladipo, 4 first-round picks, and 4 first-round swaps. The general consensus was they did very well here. Indiana, meanwhile, gets Karis LeVert.
The Oladipo is going to be good for the Houston Rockets.
Cleveland gets Jared Allen and Taurean Prince, and so jam-packed it is. And let's bring in the man himself. That's Adrian Wojnarowski. And so, Woj, you were with me here yesterday after Harden sounded off after that loss to the Lakers. How did we get from where they were then to Harden being a part now of this super team in Brooklyn?
Hey, Greeny, when James Harden talked after that loss to the Lakers 2 nights ago, he did so knowing that talks had escalated between the Rockets and both the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. And what you saw Harden do was try to orchestrate from his end, kind of give a little bit of a push to the Rockets organization to get the deal done, get a trade completed. And they were pretty far down the line with Brooklyn as of that moment. And I think once Brooklyn's owner, Joe Tsai, got fully on board, understood what this trade package would mean for his organization, and they had Cleveland on board as part of a 3-way, then the deal got done yesterday. Although, Philadelphia was very much in the bidding for James Harden, but ultimately the Nets did not want to be denied. They really wanted James Harden and I think felt like they needed James Harden, especially because of the uncertainty that surrounds Kyrie Irving and their organization right now.
Right. So that's the obvious.
So it was a good trade for the Nets, but I'm really worried about defense because we all know defense wins championships. So I wonder how defense is going to work out with these guys. I think they can make some adjustments, but it's going to be kind of tough. And definitely, I cannot wait to see all these guys play together if they play together. I don't know what's going on with Kyrie Irving.
Place to go next. People will view this as a super team because they have the 3 superstars, but at least for the moment, they only have the 2. They have KD and James Harden. What, if anything, should we expect this to do to the Kyrie Irving situation?
It gives the Nets leverage on Kyrie Irving and in his future in Brooklyn because now because ultimately what this is about for the Nets is the future of Kevin Durant. And free agency comes up quickly again, at the end of next season. All 3 of these players could be free agents, but most importantly for the Nets, Kevin Durant. And they've got to know that they're going to be able to be in position to re-sign him and have at least one significant running mate moving forward with him. And James Harden allows them to have that. These 2 players really hatched the idea of getting Harden to the Nets in the offseason when they were working out in L.A. And while I think the immediate expectation is that Kyrie Irving is going to be a part of this, that he will return here at some point, Brooklyn now knows that they have James Harden and much more certainty with him and partnering with Kevin Durant. And we'll see what this means for Kyrie's future with the Nets.
So what it does, it puts Kyrie Irving on notice. Like, look, we need you, but we don't really need you because James Harden is going to take your spot. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how this works out and to see how Kyrie Irving is going to respond to this.
It's going to be anytime, especially soon either way. Woj, outstanding, as always. Thank you. Let me bring in the big fella. Kendrick Perkins is ready to go this morning. Perk, what was your very first reaction when you saw the news yesterday? Woj breaking it on Twitter. What was your very first reaction when you saw the deal?
Man, that Sean Marks and the Brooklyn organization was like, hold on, we already filed a missing person report on Kyrie Irving, and we haven't heard from him. So let's call Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and get us some insurance in James Harden. And that's why they traded for him, Greeny, because they don't know what's going on in Kyrie Irving's head. No one knows. Here it is. We're not even 15 games in the season, and no one can find him. And he's already left the team, and already it's been a distraction.
What is Kyrie Irving doing? He hasn't even let the team know what's going on. I mean, this is out of control, man. What is this guy thinking? Actually, what is he not thinking?
So looking at this right now, you're adding James Harden. This is the problem that I have with this team now that they added James Harden is that Kevin Durant is going to be the Batman. James Harden is going to be the Robin. Can Kyrie Irving handle being Alfred? And I don't know that. So this is an insurance policy to say, you know what? We don't know what to expect from Kyrie Irving down the line, but here we go. We got us another superstar, an MVP type player to pair along with Kevin Durant, just in case Kyrie Irving decides to pull the MIA act again.
Well, it's a world, though, where the three of them are on the same team. At some point here, I think we could assume that the three of them will play together. You were a part of a super team in Boston. Some might say the first super team with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. So you've seen how those
Nah, that's not the first super team.
pieces fit together. How would you envision these three pieces fitting together?
Well, you know, Greeny, think about it, right? They're going to have so much offensive power. The word that comes to mind is sacrifice, and that's going to come on Steve Nash. All those guys going to respect Steve Nash and when he identifies their role. Like I said, KD being the Batman, James Harden being the Robin, and Kyrie being the Alfred. And then when you look at it on the defensive end, Greeny, no team has won a championship without being top five in the defensively. Even the Golden State Warriors, when KD joined them, they were top three in the league defensively. So sacrifice and defense is what my concern is about this team when those three step on the court. If they step on the court together.
Yeah. One other very quick thing I want to ask you about, because I love your Twitter feed. And you had a very interesting tweet last night that I want to share with everyone who did not get a chance to see it. Let's put that up if we can. You tweeted, "I don't need to be convinced that Bron is the GOAT. It's stamped. But if this Nets team can make it out of the East and Bron takes care of them, he's the undisputed GOAT. Beating two super teams today is greater than 6-0 in the 90s. Carry on." That's what you said last night. Give me a
There is no way beating two super teams is better than going 6-0 in the finals. That means how many times did LeBron James wasn't able to get past a team? That doesn't matter if they're a super team or not. You couldn't get it done. So how are you going to be the GOAT? The GOAT doesn't lose in the finals. I mean, are you kidding me?
quick thought on that, Big Perk.
Because, Greeny, I knew you was watching. I know you was watching. Stephen A. was watching. That was for Jalen Rose, and that was for all the old heads. Because if the Nets get past the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers, and they meet up with the Lakers in the finals, I don't want to hear nothing about the